Hello, my name is Alex Creech with the Creech Crew, closing deals in heels and cleats. I'm with John O'Connor from Prosperity Mortgage, and we're going to learn more about hometown heroes in that program.
All right.
All right, John.
Yeah.
So, what do we need to know about hometown heroes?
Well, let's see a little bit of history about the Hometown Heroes program. Just by how it's named, you can probably correctly assume that originally it came out to assist your first responder types, police, fire, people who worked in hospitals, etc., nurses and nurses assistants and so forth, and in the low to moderate income category. And this program is state sponsored by the state of Florida. This year, the program itself was enhanced tremendously in a couple of significant areas. The first significant area is that the program is open to anybody who lives and works in Florida, works a full-time job, which is
Okay.
defined as a job where they work at least 35 hours a week.
Okay.
And, these things can be verified. And that they're a first-time home buyer, except for veterans who are not held to the first-time buyer requirement, which is really key. And we could talk about that aspect later. The other big enhancement to the program is that it used to be for people who were in the low to moderate income category,
Okay.
but that income limit has been raised.
And when we talk about income, we're talking about household income?
We're actually just talking about the income that would show up on an application. So, I mean, you could have a husband and wife who are both employed
Mm-hmm.
and both have great credit and everything. But if, say, a husband makes $120,000 a
Mm-hmm.
year
Mm-hmm.
and the wife makes $100,000 a year, well, that would be well over the income
Right.
limit.
Right.
But you could have just one of those persons apply,
Oh, okay.
and that would, meet the income limit requirement. Of course, if that one person's income is enough to qualify for the loan
The
amount that
actual
they
loan.
want.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And I think I should definitely mention that the income limit in like Duval, St. John's, Nassau, Clay, the counties that surround the Jacksonville metropolitan area, the income limit is $132,750. So that
Okay.
can open up a lot of
For
opportunity.
a lot of
Right.
people could qualify for that.
Now, would you like to hear what people get?
I would.
Okay. The Hometown Heroes loan package, if you will, comes with a first mortgage and a second mortgage.
Okay.
The second mortgage amount will always be 5% of the first mortgage amount.
Okay.
It won't be
They come
5%
as
of
like
the
a
sales
package
price.
deal?
Right.
Okay.
And essentially, if someone has a credit score that's, say, over 720,
Mm-hmm.
and the applicant, let's say they make $120,000 a year, they could end up, that person, if they don't have too much other monthly debt, could easily, conceivably buy a $500,000 home and not have to make any personal investment in the transaction whatsoever.
Okay.
And best of all, they end up with a monthly payment that's far less
Yeah.
than if they did a conventional or a VA or an FHA loan.
And I know you and I spoke. We had that short video last week.
Yeah.
There's a little difference in rates as well. Is that still correct?
It is. In general, the Hometown Heroes rate on most given days, the rate will be like about a quarter or 3/8% lower than the so-called going rate.
Okay.
Like regular mortgages. When I say regular mortgages, VA loans, FHA loans, conventional loans.
Yeah.
Rates are subject to change each and every day
Mm-hmm.
until they're locked in.
Okay.
The same thing applies with a Hometown Heroes loan, except that The Hometown Heroes loan is basically administered by, what they refer to as a master servicer.
Okay.
There's one actual mortgage company that puts the funds out. Guys like me, even though I work for Prosperity Home Loans, which is a direct lender, we still technically broker that product.
Okay. Now I know we got funded with $100 million July 3rd.
Right.
Where are we with that?
Okay. Just check the website this morning. And by the way, there's, we're in this modern age where everybody likes to throw out what the facts of life are, et cetera. No pun intended, but you can take this to the bank, okay? There's a lot of incorrect information out there.
Yeah.
The reissuance of the monies began on July 3rd, and $100 million was basically put out there. First come, first serve. As of this morning, there is $48 million left. So, in less than a month, more than half of those monies are spoken for.
And we did a video in the middle of last week, and it was 50 million. So $2 million over the course of about 5 days.
Or just over the weekend.
Yeah.
Really.
Theoretically.
So these monies are likely to be all spoken for before Labor Day, would be my guess.
Okay.
So the time to act on this obviously is now. If you think you might qualify, it's a good idea to kind of get busy right away.
And this is just a state of Florida program, right?
Strictly the state of Florida.
So this $100 million was only for the state of Florida, but we've already burned through 52 million of it over the course of a month.
And then the next monies won't come out till 2024. And it has to go through the whole legislative session before it will come out.
Okay.
So I'm being told now that at the earliest, next year's monies, they won't come out any earlier than May.
Okay.
And more likely to be June.
And there's no guarantee of how much would go in on that one too, right?
Right now, the guarantee is for another $100 million wave.
Okay.
And
we just don't know when.
Yeah, I guess using that phrase guarantee is a little bit
anticipated. How about that?
Anticipated is probably better because it could change.
Yeah, certainly.
It could go up, it could go down, but the plan is for another $100 million. $100 million each and every year.
Okay.
To be blessed by the Florida legislature.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we talked a lot there, John. I'm thinking about maybe some bullet points, some action items that we could give some folks out there. So for this program, it comes onto your loan as a second mortgage.
Right.
And it's 5% of the loan amount or the purchase price.
And this is kind of tricky because it's frankly, most people tend to hear 5% of the purchase price. It's not 5% of the purchase price. It is a weird number, but it's 5% of the first mortgage amount. When it's a conventional loan, customarily, we're going to try to maximize this program. Most folks want to maximize this program when they use it.
Yeah.
The first-time buyer.
So for that first-time buyer, if the home was $400,000, but they put $10K down, that means their first loan is $390. So for the second mortgage, Hometown Heroes, they could get 5% of $390 from that first mortgage.
Essentially, that's correct.
Okay. Yeah.
And if you don't mind, I'd like to dovetail into the fact that veterans are exempt from this first-time homebuyer requirement. This is a key element here, and I have worked scenarios over and over here, and I can tell you with certainty that if you have a veteran who intends all the way to do, hey, I want to do a VA loan, I want to take advantage of my VA benefit, 100% financing. Mm-hmm. If I run the numbers on a VA loan and I put them down here, and then I take that very same person and I run the numbers using a Hometown Heroes scenario, they're going to need, again, no money to do the deal.
Okay.
Yet they're going to end up with a mortgage payment that's still less than the VA payment.
Okay.
It's crazy, but true.
And under this program, they would, well, I guess since on the first mortgage, they would still be a VA. Is there,
No,
for
no,
that, do
no,
they
no.
get,
Time out.
okay.
It would not be a VA loan.
The first one would not be.
Well, if somebody is VA eligible,
Mhm.
they usually think, well, I want to do a VA loan.
Yeah.
But if you do a conventional Hometown Heroes loan,
Okay.
you're going to end up not needing any money whatsoever to close the transaction,
Mhm.
yet you're going to end up with a lower monthly payment.
All right, let me ask you this then. What about mortgage insurance? Because I know VA loans don't have to have mortgage insurance,
Right.
but what if the VA does conventional? I'm sorry, what if the veteran does conventional?
There is mortgage insurance.
Okay.
Yes.
But it still comes out, like you still run the numbers and it still comes out lower?
It still comes out less.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's incredible. And that's primarily because the interest rates on the Hometown Heroes loans in general are lower than
Okay,
the
so
going rates.
That
on,
lowest interest rate's kind of making up for the PMI that would be there.
Yeah.
Okay. Very
Yeah.
interesting. All right. So we talked about the benefit, what you can get from it. We've touched on the income limits. And I believe in our video last week, you talked about that was the income limit for like the 5 surrounding counties. Is that
Right.
correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And that was Duval, St. John's, Clay, Nassau. Am I missing any?
I think you hit on them.
Okay. Those 4.
So the income limit is a little bit lower in Flagler County.
Oh, Flagler.
And Putnam.
Okay. So slightly lower.
Okay.
And there's a chart out there. I'll put that in the description
There
because
is.
I've seen that chart before for the income limits.
Right.
And John just gave me some info that I didn't know. It's not household income because if you just have one partner apply, then they could apply for it and still qualify with their income. So that's
right.
I have a few folks I need to tell that to. Let me ask you this one. What about for self-employed folks like myself?
Oh.
Because you said 35 hours working
Right.
full time. Who do I prove that to?
Well, you basically verify your self-employed income by tax returns.
Okay.
And if you can provide,
so it's not so much hours at that point; it's more about the income for self-employed.
It is.
Okay.
It is absolutely.
Okay.
If it's your business can be verified through the SunBiz website by our processors, and the fact that you'll be showing us 2 years tax returns when you're self-employed, that'll verify that the business has been in existence, and it usually points to the fact whether this is a part-time enterprise or a full-time enterprise.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with the 5% of the first mortgage's loan amount that we get, let's talk about, we haven't spoke about this yet. How do we pay that back?
Great. Okay. Well, it's like you get a chunk of money. It's down payment assistance. It does not require a monthly payment. So there's no interest rate attached to it.
Okay.
But you're getting this lump of money, which will be 5% of the first mortgage amount, up to a limit of $35,000. You do owe this money back. It's not a forgivable loan, if you will. So you'll pay it back if you ever sell the property or if you want to refinance.
Okay.
And
if interest rates 2 years from now get down to a 4 or something,
right.
When you refi at that point in time, you would pay that back.
You'll pay that money back.
Hopefully, presumably from the equity of your home.
And I've actually had somebody ask, wisely ask, because you want to cover all the bases. So what if I still own the home 30 years later and I still owe the money? Technically, it's due then.
Yeah, it comes due.
Technically, it's due then. What will happen in 30 years? I can't really say for sure whether they would allow you to keep carrying or not, but technically after 30 years, it's due. You're supposed to pay it back after 30 years.
Okay. So I know the program's only been around since July 3rd, at least refunded since July 3rd. Have you been able to help anybody?
Yes.
With Hometown Heroes? People have been taking advantage of it?
I closed 4 loans. Well, today's the last day of July.
Yeah.
We closed 4 loans this month.
Okay.
Under the Hometown Heroes
4
program.
of them under Hometown Heroes. Wow.
We closed 4 of them. I've got 4 more that are in my pipeline that expect to close in August, and the door's wide open. I would really like to take care of a couple other folks before the money runs out.
Especially if you're VA, come see John. So it sounds like you're really well versed in it. Clearly from this conversation. You have a lot of knowledge on the program, and even the income limits, which is very helpful for folks.
I've really made it my business to know what I'm talking about, the
Yeah.
ins and outs when it comes to this program. And generally speaking, I've been living and lending here for 30 years.
Yeah.
So the name of the game is to make sure somebody has the right information, and that me and my team can take someone through the process as easily as possible, and make sure that things come to a happy ending on closing day.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate the info, John. I'm just going to run it down here real fast. Correct me if I get anything wrong. So Hometown Heroes is open to those who live and work full-time in Jacksonville, Florida. First-time home buyers, unless you're VA.
Right.
It's 5% of your first loan amount, as long as you qualify for the income limits. And you do have to pay it back when you refi or sell the home, or if you live in the home for 30 years, then that amount will come due. So reach out to John. If you have any questions, reach out to me if you'd like me to get you in touch with John. This is Alex Creech from the Creech Crew, and I'm with John O'Connor from Prosperity Mortgage, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Thanks for the chance.
Thanks.